Stalking, sexual abuse and lewd messages by teachers. And with 90% of serious misconduct going undetected, the code that used to protect our kids has been shattered. Jonathan Creek reports on teachers who cross the line in search of student love.
I just want to talk about whether you're planning to be a teacher next year or not.
Well, is that your business, mate?
It's disturbing. I mean, to think that we've got that many teachers who have this predilection towards young people, sexually interested in their students is disturbing.
Do you think you should be allowed to teach again next year?
Mate, first of all, I think you've got to turn the cameras off and go away.
Vahe Sargsyan is a predator, but could be back running a classroom within months.
Think you're treated fairly?
No comments at this stage.
Sargsyan had an inappropriate relationship with a student when he was her maths tutor, bombarding her with sexually explicit text messages, labelling her an underage hottie, an admission he knew what he was doing was wrong. Other messages went on to ask, do you like wearing G-strings and are you horny? Even more disturbing is what happened next. He requested and received pornographic images from the girl, claiming he was drunk at the time.
Do you think you should be allowed back in a classroom?
Mate, which part of no comments you don't understand?
In the eyes of the law in Victoria, these offences, while disgraceful, are considered only minor and often only attract a minimum penalty, a suspended sentence, if anything at all. That's why the Victorian Institute of Teaching has decided to name and shame those who pursue sexually based relationships with students. Vahe Sargsyan is just one of a number of teachers misbehaving with students, abusing positions of power. Teacher Matthew Conway was sacked after he made sexual contact with a student, kissing and touching her, and text messages too explicit to repeat here. Another, Craig William Smith, enticed a female student into his car before his hands also started to wander. He could be back in the classroom after Christmas, serving just a 12-month suspension. Anyone can now access the VIT disciplinary panel's case notes online. The site details the offences and the penalties imposed on the teachers who violated their employment code. If you are a parent with school-aged children, you should check it, because teachers in Australia have state-based registrations. It's possible for them to move interstate and straight back into a classroom.
If there are teachers who have committed these crimes and then they're allowed back into the classroom, who's to say they won't reoffend?
Education commentator Kevin Donnelly welcomes the shame list, but insists authorities, including each state government, needs to adopt a unified zero-tolerance approach.
If a teacher is convicted of some sexual offence, whether it's messaging or even worse, physical contact, then I really believe they should not be teaching.
It'd be very hard to dob in someone who is seen as having authority.
Psychologist Evelyn Field says there are some signs to look for if you think your child is being pursued by a teacher.
First of all, if the child suddenly becomes a bit more secretive, or if they spend less time socialising with their friends, whether it's on the net or in person. And I think the third thing is that they'd probably try and dress, whether it's more seductively, more sophisticatedly, but less like their peer group.
I think what I'd like to see is for there to be criminal convictions attached to what we've just seen on the website.
Hetty Johnson, founder and executive director of the children's rights organisation Bravehearts, is concerned that Victoria is behind New South Wales and Queensland when it comes to penalties.
It's totally unacceptable for a teacher who has done these things to a student to be back in school by February.
So will you reapply for your licence next February?
Certainly will.
Jonathan Creek.